슈퍼 로봇対戦 알파 3! It's your boy Zap, King of the Giant Robots. Welcome to the end of Super Robot Wars Alpha 3. $234 turns. Normal ending get. But I've done all my moaning and groaning about that. What I have to read will probably be filth and lies, as is according to the writings of one Noodle Man, the Noodle Guard, Im Neidengard. Perhaps sometime in the future, I will seek revenge on this game via New Game Plus. Let's shoot the final foe. The wrong part of my translation. Alright. Here we go. Kusa hears a voice. The same voice that began speaking to her after the showdown on Balmar. It tells her that she's fulfilled her duty and the galaxy has been saved. It praises her and our people, intoning that they are indeed true swords. It then tells her that it wants her power, and tells her to offer that power to it. Who in the fuck is talking? Come on. The Lord of all lords and spirits, the breaker of chains for all worlds. It tells the swords to gather unto it, that it might eliminate the servants of the will of certain entities from all worlds. It claims to be the Spirit Emperor, which gets Kusaha's full attention.
我は末路は霊の王にしてあまねく世界の鎖を解き放つ者なりすべての剣を我のもとに集え
Thank you for the follow, Dranime.
神者たちの意志そのしもべたちをあまねく世界から消し去らんがため 我が名は霊すべての剣を我のもとに集え
The final scenario. ZEON no Ginga. A galaxy of death.
終焉の銀河。終焉の銀河。
I didn't mean to click it a second time. Literally Doomsday Galaxy. We have warped out, realizing that we are all somehow still alive, and the plan worked. After a brief delay, even the Gunbuster and its occupants are also safe.
おかえりなさい、のりこ、かずみ。
Young is so glad to see them that she can't even contain her tears. And there's a general applause for the two of them to have come home. Welcome home. Shut off all the Earth's power. Welcome home.
ガンマスター、ただいま帰還しました。お姉様も、私も健在です。
What's more is we find ourselves very much near Earth, almost perfectly on our target coordinates. with one exception. We're kinda... Thanks to the massive curvature of space-time, we've arrived some 12,000 years after we left. Wait, no. They find out we're on course. I think that's a zoom out from the black hole that we've caused. People seem distraught. People are still smiling, so the fucked up shit hasn't set in. Well, Akira picks up on something weird. Alright, we'll continue reading. Fuck it. Noriko is quick to apologize, saying that only she and Kazumi are supposed to share that fate, but our people tell her it's no big deal, adding that this has happened at least once before and we returned from that trip just fine. Besides, now we get to see this really peaceful world we all protected. Joshua then declares that God number 1 is officially over. I feel like that's mistranslated somehow. Which Hiro confirms in his trademark laconic phrase. Mission accomplished. Yeah, I think the turn limit also requires that you skip the majority of secrets that require you to do like niche little things. And in the end, like, the only thing I ever really ended up doing was using the atomic bazooka a lot. Like, Zeal and the spell that recovers your SP. 16X, welcome. He announces to us that we have a new mission, live on this Earth. Of course, we're short of information right now, but we're sure that we can overcome any difficulties and live boldly on, and everyone seems happy, except Akira and the other psychics, who can't shake this weird feeling of some kind of malice. Go Shogun, get her, I need Aeon, are still at full tilt, which only means that we've somehow not out of the woods just yet. Kusaha confides to Bullet that she is scared, and the fight isn't over, and something even scarier is on its way. And whatever it is wishes us harm, and is approaching even as we speak. Something somehow tells Kara that our enemy is at hand and a gigantic egg appears out of subspace. Out of it also somehow emerge the Balmar. Machines from our time. How in the ever-living fuck did a Balmar Empire, even with renewed evil tendencies, be using the same mecha over 10,000 years later? 10,000 years and 10,000 more Aishiteru. This only seems to mean that they are somehow thrown here along with us. Naturally, it doesn't answer our hailing either, but its silence is deafening enough. Prime, welcome. Make sure squads are up. I have 20 squads. Gunbusters up. Alright, everybody appears to be right in order. You don't get to be dead center. You are not part, so... This could only mean that the Balmar was somehow thrown here along with us. Naturally, it's not answering death. Right, what we feel emanating from it, it reminds Ryoma of the Muge, bottomless black malice. And it's clear enough that this is another enemy of all living things. We must hastily sorry to meet the threat. And Gunbuster is still good to go using its spare reactor. The rest of the bad guys seem to have some sort of disembodied wills, as though they were just ghosts of something? Ruining everything is that damn egg, and we have to fuck it up post-haste. Kurosawa whispers that it's nothing like anything we fought before. Balron tells Sanger that he's certainly never seen or heard of anything like this to date either, which Lyria also reflects, though she hesitates and says that she felt a power like this once before. Kurosawa murmurs that this must be the true something or other, but we can't linger long enough for her to figure out the words. Alright. Pop, pop, pop. Sound boost on. And then there we go. Begin the morale. Bomba! Mazin power. Beast mode. Seed up. Totsuki no one! 30. 130. It means you're only 10 away. Alright, that's Mike Saunders. What are we doing? First order disturbance. The last chance. Come on. I've only ever gotten him to say rolling start one time. We don't have to rush, but I do want to get my battleships in the fray. Because there's no reason not to. As they say, boat up. Oh, you are turned up. You know what that means? Fire the missiles. Raito can fire missiles. No.
てめえの腕じゃそんなもんだろうな。おっと逃がしゃしねえぜ。かよし、さてパーティーの始まりだぜ。遠慮すんな。で持ってけ。ま、相手が悪かったってことだ。
Sword cut. Get parried, fool. Zero system. Stand by. Well, you know what they say. Take a nap and fire the missiles. Hold on. Let me make sure we land this hit. Lock it in, please. Thank you. And then fire the missiles.
よし、本命を叩き込め。
Oh, that wasn't the bazooka. Those were Bright's nukes. I haven't fired the bazooka yet. He don't have enough morale. But I am gonna do. Hey. Let's go crack some fucking eggs. Oh, the Rando! That boy, Ed! Just in time to watch me crack some eggs. Thank you for the bits! Wait a minute, there's something in there. Welcome, friend Ed. Freckled Kush, thank you for the follow. With these barriers. You know what, War? I don't understand the runes either, but I have a guide and I have experience. And we will endure these runes together. You will love them, and you will learn to love them. I'll take that. But...
目標確認。マルチロックオン。
Come on, dog, get your bazooka open. Yeah, I think... I don't know. There's other games I think people would work on before they work on Alpha 3. Such as Z. I think Z would get translated before Alpha 3 does. Alpha 2 is being worked on. Alright. Foot and mouth. Let's go. Shame I won't play it. I already played it on hardware. But more power to the team working on it, fuck yes. PS2, I would think Z1 is probably more eager to be done, but that's personal opinion. I know I have to write a translation fact for Compact 2 Part 3 when the time comes. You know what? Mike Sounders, Disc P.
Mike Sounders 13世イエーイスピンセットオントカーバイ
Yeah, they do. Phil knows when the good music's on. In what game? Like this song slapped in EXO. Dang it, come on, boat! Right, that doesn't work. Deck, please. Help us go. Combat. Why are Combattler and Dancouga so far apart? No, go for the egg, damn it. power of screaming compels you. Good job, Yan. Nope, don't do that. Bunshin. But you can't even touch combat live! Oh my god. Now I have to heal you. Bruh. Oh, who is harmed? Who is hurt? We can go ahead and put in some sword.
SRX の力見せてやるぜ。おい、ソード射出。
はい、ツインコンタクト。分かった。フィールド収束、頭身固定。
プロニウムエンジンオーバードライブ。行け流星。全てを切り裂けワンプレイヤー。天井剣が天道無双剣。流星、あとは任せろ。どうよ、お前の牙で敵をつけ。どうだ。
Brave level up for Jet. Are you feeling it now, Mr. Crab? Ah, we do not have the power of the sun yet. Now we have the power of the sun. Hadouken!
さあ、この波乱万丈が相手だ。日輪の力を借りて、今必殺のサンアタック！
Well, destroying the egg doesn't seem to have dispelled that weird evil aura that our psychic types have felt. If anything, it only got stronger. Getting's warning to Ryoma is getting stronger by the moment too. And before we know it, the egg flies off into the distance. Kusuho warns that the true Spirit Emperor is almost upon us. It's not clear precisely what the thing that hatches from the egg is, but Lyria says she has felt the same presence many times in the underground Balmar chapels. But wait, wasn't Ralph killed by Shiva? Bossar Ephes. I don't know. Kaiser Ephres. Yeah, we're taking Kaiser Ephres. Kaiser Ephres, evidently the man at the helm, tells us his name and says that Ralph was simply his representative. So, what's he come here for then? Is he actually God? He describes himself as the Lord of Lords of the Spirits, and those who have escaped the circle of infinite power. Huh? Of who? What? Well, Etsura and Ganlon also appear, and despite our admonition to Etsura to never show her face in front of us again, she tells us all to wait, asking if we aren't the least bit curious about the true Spirit Emperor, of whose power Ralph was a mere puppet. She informs us that what we defeated on Balmar was a mere husk of Gan Eden, in which Augustus no longer resided. Call back to Iridi's explanation that Augustus was the first Psycho Driver, and apparently the one from the Balmar War had his soul sealed beside Gepel Gan Eden way back 1,000,000 years ago, or something. She goes on to keep explaining that 500 years ago, Kaiser Ephres managed to separate himself from Gepel Gan Eden, right around the time Ralph appeared on Balmar, in fact. This black archdemon is the new vessel that Augustus found in that time. Apparently, this means that Kaiser left his rightful duty of guarding Balmar to Ralph, and left behind the very system that would amplify his powers as a Psycho Driver in the process. He claims to have gained a power to which to oppose Psyche, and the very process, the very Akashic record itself. Which, the kind of information is bad for Etsura, who is a blemish before Kaiser's sight. Show me the maximum number. Okay, it was twice her HP. That's good enough. Deal damage equal to 200% HP. Delete this thing. We should probably be daunted by the fact that the Jumora, which we had such troubles fighting, was wiped out in a single hit. Sakon waxes philosophical about how it serves us for knowledge has led to the ultimate agent of her own destruction. But Ganlon explains it as simply as resonating too much before the Lord of Lords. Yes, why we haven't figured it out yet, and why even the stalwart Tetsuya is beginning to be overmastered by the fear Kaiser generates. Even Tetsuya is afraid? The Dancouga team were quick to identify this is the same phenomenon we faced in Mugen. Kaiser is an amalgamation of the evil thoughts of man. This sounds implausible until Cosmo reminds us that Ide itself is fused with the will of the ancients. But what if some of the ancients were shunned by Ide and formed their own little club instead? The evil of this anti-Ide would get even more powerful with each cycle of the apocalypsis. Ganlon, however, tells us not to call it evil, and says that they're just on the verge of asking us to join them, which would have surely been our fate had apocalypses occurred, except we won and the infinite power sided with us after all, answering our will to live. Ganlon claims that this is the result. The world they fought for so hard to protect is now merely a figment of the distant past. Well, we disagree with your shit, saying surely that the world we protected would have continued in our absence. Ganlon tells us not to be so sure, and that's if we really think he was among those who were thrown here by the Bloods. Actually, he utilized the power of his Lord to pursue us here. Why? Well, it's obvious because we are the warriors infinite power chose, and there's only one way to truly overthrow the infinite power. Obliterate us all from time and space. And when that happens, his Lord will wrest control of the cycle of karma from the infinite power and truly become God. Or a devil. Or a Majin. Whatever. Kaiser had Ralph try to unify the galaxy to be able to confront the infinite power. Basically, one dude was behind the entire living death of the galaxy wars that the Balmar had waged. And while this sounds grim, Milano wonders if Yuzas had realized the existence of this true spirit emperor in his researches into karma. Ganlon tells Kaiser that he has finished serving Nashim, who would choose real lives like us as her swords and not him. And since Nashim has lost her power already, Ganlon intends to serve Quasar as his new master. This was his objective all along. And he tells us that he had one hell of a time getting us to stop the apocalypsis on his behalf. Yeah, it was him! He gave us the tronium! Just kick the scales in our favor. And when Kusuhara demands to know who the hell he thinks he is, diving in all this from high, he says that he is the fool. Opining that this world is in need of a few renovations, he plans to cast off his physical body in order to better serve his new lord. Of course, in the process, all life in the galaxy will also be killed off, making a galaxy for spirits for Kaiser to control. And this is ultimately how he plans to protect mankind. He asks his Lord to shed forth his powers and bless him as he wipes the warriors of Earth, the Alpha numbers, off the face of the galaxy once and for all. Kaiser obliges, bringing forth the same animals that we fought in the Garden of Paral, removing any remaining doubt that this man is Gan Eden. Clearly this is our true final battle, but Ganlon figures our efforts are all in vain. After all, we have no people, no home left to protect. Right? Well, no, fuck you, you're wrong. It doesn't matter if we have nowhere to run to. Ganlon and Quasar's Ganlon and Kaiser's very existence that are... I can read. It's Ganlon and Kaiser's very existence that our squad can't tolerate, and Armor exhorts us all to take these dudes down, lest true peace never come to the galaxy. It takes Kuso to finally tell Ganlon to shut the fuck up. It's his turn to shut up and listen! We're not fighting the Spirit Emperor because the Akashic record told us, but because of our own desire to protect the world. It is now time, in other words, for the four gods to fulfill their true mission. And Ganlon figures that he can offer our souls to his Lord as proof of who's really in the right. Kaiser exhorts all living things to cast off their bodies, and thereby be freed from all suffering. He orders everyone to exhaust their hearts, their souls, and their utmost strength to accept him. The goal: ruin this man. The extra foes are inconsequential, but it's also why I very much held off, just in case they decide to encroach upon us. Word on the block is he's going to keep resupplying units, so it will behoove us to just go for him. And Ganlon. What kind of numbers are we looking at here, lads? Kaiser Efrees, 500,000 HP. Shin Ryuko O, 98,000. And he resupplies several units whenever I take down too many. Noted. Tomoro. I might actually want to delete some of these grunts. I hit them all too. Bye.
わかった。テレキネシスミサイル発射。
I mean, I will at the beginning of May. Second week of May. I will get paid to play robots. I'll be on vacation. Doing a lot of catch-up sleep.
行。見せてやる本当の勇気の力を。
もうちょっと頑張った方がいいね。フェアに行こう。フェアに。それが裁きの雷だ。
俺を止めるにはパワーが足りないぞ。
No, every time we fight him, he runs off. Even when Bullet awoke to beat his ass was not beat. Yeah, give him the classic wrestling. The who? The lady that might have just got blowed up earlier? I did not cast Bunchy. More important on slaying this route? Alright, that's fair. Which I figure Ganlon is less important on other routes than he is to this route. Aw, fucking barriers! That's okay. Because we're taking... %1 chance to hit gold.
What are you doing, Max? 天才の名が泣くわよ。
いい感じに言われたくはない。
コンマゼロに遅れてるわよ。
君の方が見込みすぎなんだ。
Reaction!
どうやら油断しすぎていたか。
Oh, you don't know how
ま
to
だショータイ
act?
ムは終わっちゃいないよ。それが裁きの雷 だ。
I want to make life easier. Drop your fucking armor. Those are bad memories. Ba 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 ba. Duh. I don't like that fitty. Flash. Shame we don't get his thing for this. Did I hot blood his attack? Probably not. There he is. None barrier.
ちょっと旗色が悪くなってきたかな。いやいや、いいものを見せてもらったよ。これが裁きのイカズチだ。
Armor is crunched. I don't want to burn too many resources on Gundam as far as like spirits go, but I will. I mean, I can always resupply. Hey, move. Get us in closer. Any of y'all have anti-barrier? Let's see. Alright. Noted. Focus, 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 focus. Or I'll run that number. Okay, as much as I like to use bullet, it's only fair. No, he doesn't. Okay. Okay. Dynamic kill. Did not return. Got deleted. When we defeat Ganlon, Kusura tells him, much to his disbelief, that he is not but a weakling, always trying right on the coattails of others. Baran adds that Ganlon, who is so fond of looking down on Earthlings, is merely afraid of having his own blood spilled. Siding with Shiva and Kaiser, which is a bit to cover his own ass. Kusura informs him that the reason Ryo-Oki and Ko-Oki disobeyed Nashima in the first place is that they cannot stand people who operate such a way. When Kusura and Bullet ordered Ganlon to be gone from this girl, be gone from this world, he screams in fury that there is no way two fools can hope to defeat the devil, or whatever or not he himself is around to see it. The universe will be remade by Kaiser's hands. Boston figures Ganlon's speech is worth a back at you. He may be stupid, but not as stupid as him for casting off his pride as a living being. The fool, who knows he is a fool, can no longer be called a fool. And paraphrasing Dominion with that, apologize to the A-Team. I pity the fool. Such it was written. Now we just have to make our way up to the guy. We are not fighting these things. There is no point. No, stop it. There's no reason to fight endless waves of foes. Now, what's gonna suck is if I just set my ass up for a whole bunch of map weapons. Okay, a bunch of all. Didn't mean to do that. Why do they want Combatter's team so bad? Huh? From downtown.
殻を捨てよ。そして我と一つになるのだ。約束の時が来た。今こそ申請せよ。
Oh, double act. Ah, hell. Hold on. We've seen this. Please survive. Please and thank you. Thank you. Okay, we did defend. Alright, so... You know what? Take this love. What is love? How about what is Axel? All I need to do is plink the first hit to continue the story. Oh no! I thought love had a guts involved with it. Shit! Fortunately, he had flash. Oh, that's different. Look at all them souls. It missed. Ah, yes. Now, as the first blow lands, this will reveal Kaiser's true form. He is indeed the one who has been speaking to Kusuha's head all this time. and he orders her to come to him and join her spiritual powers to his. He tells her that he wants her, but before he can have her soul, he must fright it with despair. And he plans to do this by somehow magically crushing Bullet, the most precious thing in the world to Kusuha. Bullet isn't standing for this shit, especially since doing so would leave Kusuha behind. He refuses. As Kaiser marvels as his assault is stopped so readily, Bullet yells that no matter what Kaiser does to him, his feelings for Kusuha shall remain. Ryusei also extends his strength to Bullet as well, as does the rest of the SRX team. Kaiser figures that we're all just wasting the power that the Akashic Record chose rather than giving it to him. But Ryusei and Bullet would far rather use every last drop of their power to protect those that they love than give one iota to Kaiser. Kusuha in turn joins her power to Bullet, but Kaiser notes ominously that if he can break us, the universe shall be his. Now, I know a scripted event happens at a threshold of power, HP. I think there's a case of lol guts involved here. Let me verify this with the book. Enforcement or Kaiser's HP is 100,000 or less. He recovers 200,000. And he has 500,000. Okay, yeah, there's a lol guts involved. Good shit goes down. Yeah, well, we get turned up. He goes down, but we get turned up. Cool. Hey, boss. I need your friendship. Sit. Apparently this animation is really good. Also, I need to cast a wind shield. It's the same from Alpha 2, it's just in cooler colors now. As P Bandai! Get out of here, P Bandai! It's not time for you. Shinji, can you hit from back here? No. But... I mean, fuck it. Alright, Oscar. Yeah, you're not doing that. Oh. I should have resupplied. I'm not going to go in too hard on the beatings when I can barely reach him. You will hit.
気抜くな。すぐに次の敵が来るぜ。
You can't hit Armored Row. You ever got any?
当たるか。ケイサルエフェス。貴様の援護でこの銀河を滅ぼさせはしない。行け。
Ah. Well, only one time. Once. One time, I got Alphard the Hatter to say rolling start. And it was the very first attack I'd done with the Virtual 1 characters. And I haven't ever gotten him to say it again. Okay. What if he sings IO Far Away? Oh, okay. Is he voiced by Ichiro Misuki? Nice.
人の心配している暇があるんなら前を見てば。
Alright, unfortunately I have to crush him though. Hold on. Homestead has armor breaking. One step at a time. Disturbance, go. I gotta use Barons. He's got the strongest one. No barriers, invincible, flash, invincible, hot blood. What's invincible? Crunch him. Hey, Mari! Talk shit. Bacchus! Talk shit. Let me talk shit. Sub 100. Let's go. Aw, hell.
艦長、どうやらプレイヤーの疲労度が蓄積されているようです。
いかんな。疲れは判断を鈍らせ、戦術に影響を与える。ここは休息を推奨しよう。プレイヤーの諸君は戦場から家庭へ戻り、ゆっくりと休養してくれたまえ。
家庭も戦場だという方の場合、どうすればいいのですかな。
Hey YouTube viewers, this is your intermission. Pause the video and take a break. Or, I don't know, skip ahead like 10 seconds. Cause it's break time.
つの力が一つになれば俺たちに倒せぬ敵などいない。ゲッターシャー
Microphone was off. Good thing I didn't say anything of value.
Sing! Shine! Spark! シンゲッターの力を見せてやる。ケイサルエフェゲッターの力、今こそ思いしてオープンゲー。
何じゃ、何故に苦渋の選択をする。我は祭らぬ霊で用意してあまねく世界のくさびを解き放つ者だ。古の白き祭壇、今ここに。
Nothing to protect you. The Combattler theme was sung by Ichiro Mizuki, or at least it was recently. Let us at least observe. It's all the soul part. Venus part. Oh. There he is. Chunks ripped out of him. Where? One of y'all is Iron ball? Well, I need accuracy. We have no such defenses. I don't think your armor is going to go any lower. Just fine. Wait, hold on. No. Ooh, I was exactly far. HTB. Ah!
今こそてめえの全てを終わらせてやるぜ。行くぜ隊長。
了解した。 HTB シーケンス開始。
システムコネクト。はい、行くわよ。わかった。ウィリンクツインコンタクト。
メタルジェノサイダーモード起動。
X ガンナー射出確認。
コネクト。
プロニウムエンジンオーバードライブ。バイパス開放。
ターゲットロック。修正。
発射準備完了。
トリガーを預けるわ。ヒュー。
許せろケイサレフェス。全ての世界からな。
我こそは空にそびえる黒き城なり。我は煩わぬ霊を大いし、あまねく世界の鎖を解き放つ者なり。印象の白き祭壇、今
I don't like that. Mondo! Oh, shit. Oh, cool. Just barely in range. Seed in. Ooh, writing's gonna get hit hard for that. Rex Medium. Kinda called it. What the? God damn it. I would like to have Hito's power. We are shooting. And Hero survived. receive your HP. Say doing all that shit talking. Oh, you have obscene will gains. Will on hit. That's gross. Oh! Come on! Y'all can do this now. There it is. Ah. And so, as the pounding continues, or thus bringing him under 100,000 HP, Kaiser decides to show the futility of our actions. Ball guts? That's a lot less than the book said. Look, you said 200,000 for hard mode, and we are on hard mode unless we somehow kick down to easy for not getting the ending. Whatever, I'll take it. Alright, well, so, whatever, fine. Kazar decides to look into the overactions and summons up Balmar Gan-Ide, which apparently he made on his own. It almost breaks the will of many of our people. Well, I'm just going to read it as it is, even though it might be different now. But Bossroar still has beating heart and the electric guitar to match. Too bad Kazar cannot pull the plug. However, too bad for him because something burst forth from space. A fleet of unmanned Excellions. Or, no, our combined fleet, I guess. And they all have messages of love and motivation for all. Even Kaoru's here for Shinji. God damn. Oh, Toji too? Kensuke? Yo, Pops! Ooh, messages from the dead. This... Dad and Shiro are here. Jeeves, father. Or Hiroshi, rather. Brother! And Richter! General Oka. Oh, I know he passed. General Igor. Of course, Akira's mom. Lamira. You thought you could break our soul. Instead, you fucked up. Lala. And Char? Quattro separately speaks to Camille. What does this mean? Ooh. Haman. Bird, we are having an emotional moment. All of our friends and foes from the past are here to cheer us on at the end of the life, end of the universe. Oh, no gato? No, you're not gonna encourage yourself. Get out of here with this shit. Beauty! Oh, well, there was reading to be done. Okay, but alright. We missed out on the part about a song, apparently, so I'm going to skip past the song. A strange warm light begins to envelop our squad, driving out the despair. Guy sees us spawn upon Leo, who tells him that he and his mother are with him. She adds that this is thanks to the power that was added to Buster Machine 3, and that she and Leo are now beings that transcend time and space. And they are not the only ones that have come to learn their strength. Kenzo appears to Koji, and he tells him that Mazinger grants the power to become either a god or a demon, and thus, you to whom it was bequeathed must never lose sight of justice. He also tells Jun and Tetsuya that he will always be with them, his children all. Tetsuya protests he wasn't able to save his commander, asks Kosei was the real father, and Kenzo reminds him that he can save mankind, and tells Tetsuya that this is the day that he prepared Tetsuya for all those years, and asks him to show him results. Hiroshi's father also appears, telling Hiroshi that he must beat the Spirit Emperor to protect Mayumi and the rest of mankind, and he must fight to the utmost extent of his power. Hiroshi, turned up, assures his father that he will do that and then some. Heinel and Richter show up for moral support, urging us to use the light to keep the world from darkness and death. Oka, on his hand, tells Megumi to live strong so the power of life will illuminate the road ahead. Our people bear on the shoulders the fate of all life, and Heinel cries out for us all to sing the songs of battle on high. Their strength will surely overthrow even the waves of death itself. And since all these other past souls are on the scene, it doesn't surprise the CBF to see Igor. He tells the whole team, including his own son, that he believes that the flames of their rage can surely burn away all evil. And with the machines and resolve built for them, Shinobu says that he will make damn sure to show the bad guys what their instincts are good for. The Moria is also here to speak with Akira, telling him not to worry about her sacrifice on his behalf. Any mother would do the same for their child. She asks him, the hero, to fill the world with the light of life. Kaiser realizes what's happening and starts pulling the souls to him. And Amuro recognizes many of them, including Lala, who reminds Amuro that she once told him that humans would one day come to rule time. Char is here as well, whose desire for a better future for mankind is the same as Amuro's. And since Amuro is the man who defeated Char, Char says that he has the right to show Char what kind of future he had in mind. I don't know if you can hear this, but I am a bit choked up on this shit. In his Quattro guys, he tells Camille that all of this may have already been ordained by the time they first met. He was counting on Camille as a representative of the next generation, and in meeting those expectations, Camille has kept moving forward despite all doubts and all recriminations, excuse me. Camille says that that's what Quattro had taught him, and Quattro tells Camille to show him just what sort of future he desires for man. Haman is also here, telling Judo slyly that she couldn't very well just leave this whole mess to him, could she? She believes in him, and she's not the only one, for their sake as well as hers. She tells him to not lose. The souls are mightily resisting Kesar's powers, Gato, as well as many others, fighting on even in death for the peace of the world, including Kinryu, Nicole, Rusty, and many others Zaft, Tall, the Psycho Bitch, Flay, Nataro, even Trays and Ulta. Kazar can't stand this shit and his malice increases to a physical wavefront threatening to swung us down. But Gamden tells Miley not to give up now. Now is the time to sing. He encourages Basra to show all these dead people what living is truly like. Minmay is here. Bondo. Those who understand beauty. Microphone is on. Good, yes. Shiva can barely contain himself with how this wonderful all this energy is. And Basra sends the score to all of our units to join in. This is truly the apex of Lowland's culture, would be why Kaiser's regenerative powers are now cut off. Not quite as infinite as he thought, was he, bitch? I got the power of love. Turn up. Even Ray has spoken. Okay, Cosmo and Ryuma take the chance to tell his ass that there's only one thing that can be infinite in this world: good and true hearts. Such hearts can gather as much power as they need and create any number of miracles that their SP pool will allow. The spirit of Musashi tells Ryoma. Yes. That is precisely how it should be. It is Ryoma's wish to live that engenders Getter's power. And Ryoma's life is literally the life of Getter. Even more so, Ideon shows its departed members to its crew. The way its power is expressing is very different from before. This is an Ideon that wants to live with us all. In the true route, Kuzuta and Bullet with Austin and Sangha and Rascalars are singing in, as well as Baron singing his warrior songs, and Lilia her songs of life. Moreover, the spirit of Ingram appears to Ryusei, telling him that the moment has arrived to use his power to defeat evil. He tells an astounded Ryusei that he has ranged throughout the many realms of time and space, seeking what was disrupting the cycle of karma. But by the time he discovered Kaiser, Usus had robbed him of his reason and destroyed his body. He apologized to Aya for not only failing to save her, but ending up causing her pain. She tells him not to worry a bit, overjoyed as she's to see the real him for the first time. He tells all his precious comrades on the SRX team to win, defeat Kaiser Efries. Defeats Kaiser Efries in his stead. Ryusei vows to make good on that promise. Ingram whispers something to Valletta to take care of the rest. Ingram then speaks to Kusuha and Bullet, wanting to offer a word of apology for all the trouble he's cost them. Bullet harbors no hard feelings now, thanks to Kusuha by his side. She feels the same as Bullet. He tells them to not lose, adding that their power is for the purpose of breaking fate wide open. Ooh, even Relina is here. Fuck him up, alpha numbers. Fuck him up. Kaiser's gotten sick of all this seething and blows away the unmanned Excellions not here in this timeline. The familiar voice tells him Gefel that it's time to lay this to rest. On the true route, we would get Iri Gan Iden. Gefel shouts at Neshim to be silent. Their duty was supposed to have been to overcome the cycle of life and death ordained by infinite power. Neshim counters that man has overcome apocalypse on his own and says that the time has come for them to all leave man to slumber. Gefel will not accept this, determined to remake the entire universe by his own hand, in which case, Nashim would say that she will carry out home duty as God needed by striking him down. He tells Kuso too that fighting for those he loves and those he's sworn to protect. Geffel's high and mighty belittling comes to an abrupt halt when our squad tell him to go eat a dick, climb a fucking fence of dicks. What is the big vulgar thing that I once learned from a stupid Sonic comic? I'm not even going to be monetized for this, so candle sniffing fuck fence go climb over. You are about to hand his ass to him, not as servants of some Akashic record, but as people, as humans. My understanding is that morale is maxed for everyone. 30% of SP is recovered. Go ahead. Act twice. No tank. No barriers. Dang it. Always just that shit. Damn. Okay. Excellent.
ーヒッ
命帝ケイサルエフェス、貴様を超特別指導する。マーズの戦闘競技披露する。マーズ戦闘競技指導要項13番、一撃必殺。
我々にして我を滅ぼすことなど幾度となく繰り返された死と修正、それがようやく終わる。真の刺激さえだ、今ここに。天を聞け、身を傾け。
Yeah, barriers don't work on this move. I guess they do. What do I know? I don't know shit. Yep, already turned up. Not have HP. I can perceive your HP. You have 76,000 and I will ruin you. Oh, I thought she might have been trying to do something unique. I know what I want to do. Get you in there.
悪く思うなよ。
かっこよくやっちゃって。
お手並み拝見ってとこだな。
見てろ、一発で決めてやる。ゴールラッシャースペシャル。
何じゃ、発露は奴隷たちの本命を消し去ることはできん。古の白きさ。
ガイキングの力見せてやる。行くぞ、三四郎君、ピート君。了解。行くぞ三四郎。ジャイアンカッター。ピート、あとはガイキングに任せろ。何時らの魂の力だというのか。我こそは新たなる世界の礎。何時らの魂は我によって解放される。
I thought you had invincible on. What the hell? Oh well. We're taking it at this point. It's the last turn. Free attack.
Shield が持てば。
Ah, it reset. And I'm okay with that.
大戦が見参。今こそ我らの力を見せる時。承知。人馬一体。いや、勝つのせよ。我らの敵の一撃なり。
なんじゃ、末路は奴隷たちの怨念を消し去ることはできぬ。
Oh, that was it? Huh, I cut it off before the last HP was cut. I thought that was the end. Destroy all that shit. Get out of here. Our thoughts, courage, rage, hard work, and guts, the light inside everyone's hearts, and our songs. These are the things that dispel the dark from the world. As such, the downfall of Kaiser comes the downfall of his troops. He tries to insist that he is the Lord of Lords, who cannot know ruin or decrepitude. Banjo lets his ass know that even the deepest seated hatred will be vanished in time. As sure as the sun rises, the hopes of men will live on within their breast. Things so differently here, apparently. Obviously. Beauty is going to use her power to silence and delete. Spirit Emperor. Or not. The will of Ide is awoken. Ah, the pilots have been ejected from Ide. Okay. Spirit Emperor... this might track. The Spirit Emperor dies, and with him all the mouths that filled the area. Might seem that we've won, but there's one more enemy left. The force which put everyone through this, the Akashic Record. The infinite power itself. Ideon springs into action suddenly, not even heeding its controls, and expels the crew in a ball of light. Max orders everyone to surround it, saying there's no telling what it may do. Ryoma shouts to Hayato that it's not clear. Hayato? Probably. Not clear what's going on with the Getters, except that Shin Getter is still responding perfectly to his controls. If the infinite power is true inside to wipe us out, it's obvious we'll just have to fight back. and not even Ideon knows what's happening. Ideon shines for some manner of light, and the SRX seem to hear someone calling their name. Being surprised says that this is apparently teleportation back to our own time on Earth. We are just outside orbit base. It seems we've all been sent home. Is Ideon remaining behind in the future itself? But it's the end of the game, so we don't need it. Oh, everyone caught up in the explosion. Bullet, Kusaha. Beauty is fine. And those must be the 4 gods. Alright. A fleet on the true ending, a huge fleet from various people across the galaxy would have come to greet us. Among them is Gepelnich, who commends us letting the light of our spiritual fleet bathe itself. Foster tells Gepelnich not to sweat it and corrects him to use his full name. Oh, he calls him Gepe. Mid-May is playing this song, which sounds amazing. Irie's still hanging out in a ball of light and explains that it's the infinite power who did all the work to send them home, urging the souls of all people who love us. Infinite power itself is now attempting to get some sleep, as well as the soul of the 4 gods, whose mission is now, in fact, utterly, completely, and entirely over, except it needs to show up in an OG game. Bullet and Kusa offer their thanks to Ryuko and Koryuo, bidding them farewell, vowing to take the lessons they taught them forward into the future. Turtle and the Phoenix go, and then the Tiger, and the Dragon. And thus, cheer. The rest of the crew gives their thanks and bidding farewell to the souls that support us throughout their trials in the galaxy. Amuro is sure that he'll see them again one day, far off in the distance. This should ideally be where things unite. It's been a week since returning to Earth, and the SRXT was at Tesla Reich Institute. The Alpha numbers are separated to go about rejoining friends and family. Though Rai's brother has once again vanished from sight without a word. God damn it, you mysterious chef. You only figure that EDM wasn't fully activated way back there in the future, with enough clout to overcome the dimensional warping that kept the crossgate from being useful. And in the wake of our return, that warping also vanished. The only explanation is that the Akashic Record, the combined wills of the first founding people, wished the Earth to have conversed with the rest of space. This was hinted at in the Lax ruins, though Valletta doesn't think it's anything simple-minded as a directive of the whole galaxy to play nice. Conflict when different cultures collide is in some sense unavoidable, but reason and good intentions and trust will surely bring about good things to mankind every time they can overcome the conflict. It's good that the Akashic Record wants us to interact with other worlds, but the crossgate vanished so we can no longer use dimension cutting. On the other hand, though, the exit dimension can be completed, in itself will fulfill the same role as a crossgate. Which means it's up to how strong Ryusei's psyche is, how far in this universe, or a parallel one, we could travel. Ryusei is fired up from the experiments and has gotten over his hating his power as a tool for murder. It looks like every other part of him is something he could use without reservation for the truth, justice, and friends. It's glad to see how much he's matured, but he tells her he's just getting started. We'll let the others know that their fight alongside the Banprios will never be over so long as this world exists. But for now, there's somewhere else to go. The Mazinger team is back at the Science Fortress Laboratory, a place that Tetsuya honestly never expected to see again. Koji, however, isn't going to be settling down there. Plans to study spaceflight at Tesla Reich, and Tetsuya assures him that he will look after Japan's safety in his absence. He knows that there's no telling what the next round of invaders may show up, but he and June are fully behind wherever Koji wants to go. As for Sayaka, she plans to support him up close, saying that she's Koji's best partner, even when she's not in Diana A. Boz and the boys promise Koji to take care of Mazinger's maintenance while he's gone. And Shiro tells Koji that he's going to work hard so the next time they meet, he'll be a full-grown man like him and Tetsuya. Thus, the fruits of victory we fought so hard for. But there's something else to think about at this moment. Something without which the war won't truly be over. Meanwhile, Ryoma has asked Saotome to let him participate in Getaway research. He explains that this whole war made him curious about the larger world enveloping us all. Pretty much his entire youth was consumed by piloting Getarobo, and Hayato is pleasantly surprised to hear Ryoma express it so eloquently. Saotome would gladly accept Ryoma as part of his staff, but reminds Ryoma that the quantity of Geta rays striking the world has gotten far less after the war. Entirely possible that they'll cease altogether, but Ryoma is not worried. He'll just chase them to the center of the galaxy if that happens. Hayato smirks and says maybe he ought to make a robot not based on Geta rays. Against that eventually, Benkei offers to be the test pilot, knowing that whatever Hayato might cook up will be too much for the ordinary man to handle. And it sounds like a new Geta Ray-centric battle is before us, air quotes battle. Ryoma ponders that Musashi might yet be waiting for him at the end of the road, for Musashi has become one with rays. With Geta, excuse me. Smiling a bit at that thought, what to say to Musashi. Takes the rest of the team to get him to issue a leader like Team Let's Move Out, en route to a certain event. Build base is being used as production space for the Yuma Motors car company. Given that the outside threat has passed, the scientists are eager to put their technology to peacetime use. Michi offers to help Hiroshi keep the books balanced and so on, and Hiroshi's mother tells him that the time has come to do what he sees fit, not what others force on him. He thanks her, but clarifies that he was fighting with his own will, at least by the end of things. He's proud of it, which would surely make his departed father proud. Grinning, he tells Michi... I don't think that's Michi. Whatever. Could be. I don't know shit. I don't know Japanese. He tells Michi that she's looking at the mightiest corporate president on Earth, complete with built-in laser. He tells Mayumi that she'll soon get to see a lot more of him now. He'll even handle dropping her off at kindergarten. But before that starts, there's somewhere he and Michi have to go. Space. Briefly. Kentaro is returned to Boazon, distant from his wife in space, but not in spirit. Hamaguchi plans to send the V's to help reconstruction efforts on Boazon in a month's time, and Yotsu asks that Kentaro had the finest wine on Boazon waiting for them. Kentaro would do just that, and asks the scientists to give his best regards to Erika and Melody, who are part of the Mars terraforming project. As for where Erika is right now, she and Kazuya have been taking a walk by the ocean until the wind rose. And when they return to Mars, it will be a long time before they get to see the oceans, but not so long that they won't be able to show their children. Margaret says this happy she's ever seen her mistress in a good long while. And Kyoshiro says that the two of them will finally become one, for the rest of them to bless them from afar, at least until tomorrow, when the whole lot head to Mars. Oh, I went too fast. I didn't know there was more to that. Yoma's been watching the two of them from a distance, not out of jealousy, but pondering how to talk to girls and actually make them happy. She tells him that depends on the girl, but what Yoma should do is just be himself. Juzo and the others joke that the newfound bond between Hyoma might spell the end of the team, which is in fact as immortal as the robot they pilot. As for Kenichi, he plans to return to Earth one day, though his parents plan to live on Boazon. His teammates have no objections, but wonder if he's doing this out of consideration for them, when he could be living with his family after so long. He smiles. He tells them that while that's true, the Boazon is his second homeland, and the Earth he was born and raised on is his first. He wants to do everything in his power to make it an even better place. Besides, it's now easy to visit Boazon with peace throughout the galaxy, though it's clear that some sort of trouble must start eventually. And when it does, we must make words, not weapons, to be the solution. And that's what Voltes needs to be used for. That talk can wake. They have to head to orbit base. Oddly enough, Raideen hasn't gone back to sleep, despite everything being done. Akira explains that with the duties of the Mu hero at an end, Raideen has put its power at our disposal. As for what he plans to do with that power, Akira says he's planning on becoming a full-time archaeologist. There are many ruins in the world, each has its own message from people of the past, and he wants to learn from that, and put it to good use in the future now that we are all now free to create, with the bonds of the Akashic record loosed on them. Ichiro likes the sound of that and tells Akira to come as his full-time assistant. The Coplander squad will be on tap to help as well, but before any of that we have one final job to do, to put an end to the war. Sanjiro, meanwhile, has managed to get back to the Major League Baseball. He's a baseball pitcher after all. Well, at least in principle, if not on paper. Since the Dancouga is going to become a rescue vessel, Sanjiro's combat skills won't be needed, and he can concentrate on sports full-time. That said, Sanjiro pledges to be ready to rock at a moment's notice if an emergency happens. He observes that kind of divided life is likely to make both sides turn out bliss. But Sanjiro knows that Pete is just saying that out of friendly concern, and in return, happily vows to prove that he can make both sides a smashing success. And now, it's time for a bit of farewell ceremony to get things going. Aran Corporation. Banjo is chilling in an office chair, savoring the scenery outside the window with a cup of Garrison's tea. Yes, sir. The best. Question is what to do now, Banjo. Start another company, sir. Some clandestine organization to punish criminals? Well, both are under construction, but he doesn't need to rush to a conclusion. Beauty for one promises to be with Banjo until he's old and gray. Reika somewhat archly indicates that she's in this every bit as long as she is. Banjo shall have his hands full, but he says he'd rather be resolving that kind of conflict than fighting some war. For now, there are people to greet in space, and for that, a long journey for Banjo to find himself somewhere in space. Space. Meanwhile, Sabranth has prepared a little bonus for all the hard work the Good Thunder team has put in. He's found them a new client, Kenta, who wants their help. Although Infinite Power has gone to sleep, some of the evil ghosts Kaiser summoned are still at large in the galaxy, and it's Kenta's job to fight them. Remy asks who gave Kenta that job, and he answers that he chose it for himself. After all, the human race no longer needs to beat Mars intervention, and that's precisely what the Good Thunder team wanted to hear. So before setting out, we asked someone to greet. Not Bundle, who didn't have a faded tie to Remy after all, but our precious companions. Shinobu can't believe this shit. After everything the CBF has done, they're posted to North America once again. Sato asks if he wants to be exiled from Earth instead. Shinobu smirks and says it might be better than being cooped up in a single small planet. Sarah smiles, saying that it would be the disgrace of the Earth if they sent him out to space alone, mainly because of his short temper and inability to get jokes like this. Asuki assures the team that while their posting is to North America, the sphere of operations will be the entire Earth sphere itself. He's already got permission for them to head to outer space should circumstances require. In other words, the team is going to be busting their ass all over the place. And that suits Shinobu just fine. He'll go to the ends of the galaxy if there are people who need their help. And with Igor gone, Alan is now in front. Will be in front-line charge. Alan's friends on the Black Knight Squadron will be combined with the Beast team to form a new unit. As for their first mission, obvious, to finally put a wrap on this war. Shinji's made to see Neo Tokyo 3, newly built after Neo Tokyo 2, which I think in English, Neo Tokyo 2 is Tokyo 3. Because it goes Tokyo, and then Neo Tokyo, which is Tokyo 2, and then Neo Tokyo, the sequel, becomes Tokyo 3. It's like Final Fantasy 2 is Final Fantasy 4, but it's Final Fantasy. What? Shinji's made to see Neo Tokyo 3, newly built after Tokyo 2, was gnarly and demolished in the course of the wars. What's more, Shinji and his fellow children have ended up in the same class as their old friends, like some bad joke or something. Like the end of some anime. Not that the other kids are complaining, it's just reassuring, Kensuke says, that Shinji and the others aren't going to abruptly vanish the way they did after the Balmar War. Shinji's heard that Misato was posted as newly reorganized headquarters, and suspects that he and the others returning to a normal life is due to her hard work. Shinji hasn't been told what became of the Avas, but Asuka notes that they're being treated as extremely dangerous and may have even been dismantled for all she knows. Shinji doesn't think so, since there were two among the powers that defended the Earth. So maybe they're just being stored somewhere? I don't know. And should new enemies appear again, Shinji says he'll happily pilot his Ava again if it can save lives. Adds music to Asuka's ears, but just then... Ray walks up and tells him that it's time to head to Orbit Base. There are some important friends to see off. The Ashtray M1 squad are actually excited to return to Orb, past the almost certain fatal dangers that we faced. Daika's also here, who, like Adron, is being treated as a deserter, but expects there won't be any consequence if Izak speaks on their behalf, Izak not appearing in Descending. Mirialia huffs that he should just get his ass back to the plant, but he tells her that he wants a bit of time to take a good look at what this Earth place is like. Knowing she's from Orb, he asks her to show him around, and after a long pause, she smiles and agrees, knowing how hard he fought for everyone. But she cautions he'll have to return to the plant one day. As for Kigali, she explains to Atron that Orb is the union of 5 families. With her father gone, someone has to hold them all together, or Orb will actually be destroyed after all. She's not sure how much she can do, but she's planning to give it her best. Kisaka thinks to his departed master that this wish of Kigali is the ultimate proof of her maturation throughout the war. He tells Uzumi to rest in peace and let him watch over Kigali in the days to come. Austin says that while the plant and the Federation are indeed well ahead of the peace process, there are still individual differences that probably won't disappear overnight. That said, Austin plans to remain in Orb. He frowns and says that there's nowhere for him to return to in the plant, or anywhere in space for that matter. In which case, he asks Kigali to let him stay by her side and protect her, which brings a smile to her face. Blackies has nowhere in particular to be either, and Kira asks her to live with him at Orb. Take a good long time to ponder what it is they have accomplished so far and what to do next. She's more than happy to do so, and to honor all of our fallen comrades. Baru and Moo walk over and note that it sounds like Kira's leaving the military. They explain that the Archangel has been assigned to a long-term Federation loner to assist in its ally, the Orb's defense. Wallfield is also there, and tells Sai that whether or not the fighting stays over is largely up to our resolve. Kira, for one, never wants to see so many lives lost because of man-hating man ever again. He likes to do anything he can to help those sacrifices not be in vain. Yes, Lack is to help him fulfill the world with peace, and the first step is for him to go aboard Archangel for the final task to make their war unforgettable. Camille thanks Chan for all that she and Anaheim have done for him over the years, and she tells him no thanks for needing, adding that she has personal stake in his well-being. Armor is also glad to see Camille starting his new life as a mecha designer. Chan says that Camille has enough clout to lead an entire project on his own. She smiles and assures her that he can't nearly do so much, but what he can do is inject a healthy dose of frontline pilot's perspective into Anaheim's products. And more than just that, with the war over, the usage model for mobile suits is going to change significantly. They need to operate throughout the galaxy, and the full potential of the Psychomu is still far from tapped. Arbor is sure that Camille, who thought such machines had touched sorrow and bliss with his own hands, such as a challenge. Arbor himself will remain in the military, though his role is already changing to that of a test pilot. Plans on watching over the future Char spoke of as an individual, telling Camille that the infinite power asleep and gone eaten and destroyed is entirely up to man what kind of future they build. That's worth a lot of effort to protect. And with that, the rest of the crew show up to take them off to Orbit Base. Or adds that when they visited Rosami in the hospital room today, she smiled. Seems her heart, damaged so badly in the future, may not be mending at all. While the others will be returning to school, Fawn hopes of becoming a lawyer. Katz will be living with his parents' blessing and is planning on studying engineering, and he wants to one day be part of Camille's projects. As for formal nurse style, it's so new that she hasn't settled on a specific plan for the future. But she has plenty of time, and plenty of possibilities before her. Emma, meanwhile, hasn't answered Hankin's marriage proposal, and Keira is toying with the idea of settling down with Espionage. And this way, all the various folks are headed into the future Char had hoped for, along their own paths. Juno, meanwhile, is making final preparations to join the Galactic Survey mission. Reina is a bit sad that she won't get to see him for some years, but tells him not to worry about her. As she told him before, she'll send him off with a smile. He asks him not to worry about her or the Peru sisters and keep moving forward. And in Judo's absence, the rest of the junkyard crew have some big plans. He might come back to a full-blown factory. Judo laughs and says that he's looking forward to that very much. Nino is pretty sure that Judo will be okay with Rue by his side, and she says that she's sure she can keep Judo's messes under control. As Judo protests that she's not his wife or anything, the Peru sisters thank him for everything that he's done. And when the time comes, they promise to return the favor to help him out. He's sure that they're all grown up when he comes back, or any of that, time to head to Orbit Base, where the search for human possibilities that Haman cared so much for, far from Jupiter, parts of space where the light of the sun won't reach. Captain Synapse is very happy to see his old crew yet again, and he's sure that the Federation will undergo a large overhaul with the Blue Cosmos gone. The military is likely to shrink and humanitarian aid flourish. Definitely preferable to the large military with too much time on its hands and no prospect of large troop movement by either the planet or Federation. Albion will largely reduce patrol duties. Ko, however, doubts that the war will go away completely. The very same drive for people to need to go on living gives rise to ego-based differences at the opinion and strife. But man can be protected from such things by containing war and ending it as quickly as possible. As long as that goal is in mind, there's no need to worry, though worrying is practically Ko's reason for living. Well, that and a certain technical advisor who has just joined the Albion staff. She's looking forward to whatever he's trying to tell her before we departed. Ko says that was in the event that we never returned. And since we did, now he has to think of something else. He knows that outcome will affect the rest of his life. Lady Un thanks the Gundam Wing Boys for all their hard work. They've been called together for new orders of sorts. They're all receiving leave, though Lady Un cautions them not to think that they're being discarded. Their leave has a time limit, and she's sure that the Gundam Wing Boys will be even busier now that the Earth is a citizen of the galaxy. But with the current battle tied up, they deserve a bit of time up. A bit of carrot and stickism to be sure, but Hero has plans for his break at least. Merlina's already here to pick Hero up, having already prepared a shuttle to head to Orbit Base. Seeing off our comrades and finally putting a true end to the war and bring about peace. The Virtualoids are about to leave for their own world. Although the real Crossgates have been either rendered inoperative or destroyed by Buster Machine 3's blast, research has shown a way to partially duplicate their effects enough to permit entry to parallel worlds. While the Virtualoids say that they can't afford to linger in this world, they invite the hero robots to visit their own, which will surely be fun. Unfortunately, the hero has plenty of work left to do in this world, and Chief says that in any case, he greatly appreciates all of their help. Bullfog, in return, thanks them for their assistance from the bottom of his heart, and it's left to the Hatter to give us some English. Thank you very much! Jay is also leaving to soar the endless skies of space and search for an eyrie in which to rest his rings. Even if his life should end along the way, no warrior could wish for war. Guy and Jay will never forget their fighting and winning together, and Guy promises to take good care of Arma. In return, he asks Jay to take good care of Renee, though Renee says she's going with him entirely of her own volition. She does promise to contact Triple G if ever trouble strikes, and thanks to Mikoto's very much for the bravery that she showed her. J-Bit's armor fell well, asking him to live as Kaido from now on. Mamoru figures that this should be a snap since Kaido has many friends already, besides Mamoru himself. Now he's planning to see Jay and the Neo Mega Road fleet off. Tiger orders all Triple G to formally salute their departing comrades. Global formally leaves the second long-range colony fleet in Maximilian and Misa's hands. First on the agenda is meeting back up with the scattered elements galaxy-wide, and then heading for other galaxies. And this time, Roy is glad to have Claudia along. The sooner a new habitable galaxy is found, the sooner Hikaru and Misa can get married. The entire crew is pulling for them. Even Young is coming along, hoping for a change of pace after this whole Sharon Apple incident. She tells Isamu that it's not so much that she's running from Earth, as she is going to search for new songs to sing. Songs for the memories she'll make traveling with him in Gould. Mylene and Fire Bombers won't be seeing Earth for a long time. Mylene is very glad that every bit as wonderful as she had heard. She wonders if she'll ever get to see it again, but Basra somehow irritably tells her that there are songs to be sung everywhere. If she sings hard enough, she'll surely reach all the way back to Earth. Which means it's time for a pan-galactic tour to begin. Gamlin seems to understand Basra's moods better than Mylene, which is only right since he considers Basra his biggest rival, both for Mylene's affections, which Mylene is slightly too dense to come to. On the solo ship, the gauge of E-Day is cold and dark, meaning that at least the DS drive is unusable. They'll be aboard a different ship as part of the new colony fleet, with part of E-Day within the solo ship presumably at sea. May even be that it took the last of E-Day's power to send us back to this time as a sign that E-Day had finally accepted us as a new life form suitable to live in the galaxy. For all that we've had E-Day jerking our chain, Hatari feels almost lonely now that it's gone. In any case, it's time to move forward under our own power for a change, but with the same determination that let us overcome the apocalypsis. But that's in the past, and it's good that there's at least one positive reminder of that time. Kanada's belly and the life within are growing day by day. And as for what to do with the long journey ahead without Ideon, in the event of attack, Cosmo says the first line of defense will be trying to talk things over. Many times over if the opponent doesn't listen right away, and if that fails, we fight to go on living, as always. Kazumi will be joining Noriko and Jung on the mission to explore the Galactic Center, half because their coach is now passed, and half because of a message he left. Takaya, Jun, and Kazumi aim for the top. So it was funny how he was their coach until the very end, and Jun playfully calls her old rivalry with Kasumi. She may have lost the competition to win Ota's heart, but she won't hand over the seat as top ace of the squad so easily. Noriko will also gladly participate in this battle, but first there's a thing left to do. Kusama has come to see Armana off, who's been living on Earth for the past week. And though she's had a lot of fun, well, no matter, Armana's mind is made up. The apocalypse has claimed her home world, people are still alive, and she plans to find a new home for them to dwell. Bullet tells her to drop our people a line whenever she needs help. They'll come running to anywhere in the galaxy. She thanks them from the bottom of her heart, both as Balmar's representative and personally, for all they've done for her and her people. Lyria adds that her words of thanks and Iridi thanks Armana in return. She says that with Gepel gone, Nashim within her is beginning to fade, but that it wish... Wow, what? She says it was Gepel gone, Nashim was within her is beginning to fade, but that it wishes blessings of... Oh, it wishes blessings upon the Balmar. Armana in turn hopes that Iridi could now need a normal life. Come on. Lyria has her own word of thanks, and Iridi thanks Armana in turn. She says that with Gepel gone, Nashim within her is beginning to fade, but it wishes blessings upon the Balmar. Come on! Armana in turn hopes that Iridi can now live a normal life, and Paran asks Kusa to take good care of Iridi. He's looking forward to his next meeting with the manly men on our team, and Songer promises to polish his warrior spirit in preparation for the next meeting. Tashiro tells the commanders of various parts of the Alpha numbers that although the unit has been disbanded, there are indelible bonds that can join them together. We are those who have surmounted fate itself and are eternal friends because of it. Thus, this venture into the Sea of Stars is not a parting, but the beginning of a bright new venture into tomorrow. Thus, in place of farewell, a round of applause. The pilots exchange their fond greetings and wishes to meet again. Did I miss that last bit? I think I did. Nope, wait, nope. Perfect. In a quiet moment, Bullet tells Kusaha that it is now over, and with everyone off on their own voyages. A new life begins tomorrow. And with Bullet starting research at Tesla and Kusa returning to her own studies to one day become a doctor, Bullet then asks if she still has the ring that he gave her. Of course she does. And cringing says that somehow during his period of sleep inside Ryu Ko'o, he's lost his. She tells him that it wasn't that important, but he, suddenly stammering, says that although this isn't an apology as such, he wants her to have a new ring. Her jaw drops. And then tells him that her answer is obvious. If he'll have her, they are to be together forever. Thus ended the quadrilogy of Super Robot Wars Alpha. Ooh, there's an ending CG too. I really do try to give my thoughts and feelings on games after the fact. Well, wait, no, that's the Strike Gundam. What am I saying? Impulse. Strike. Game was good. I'm mad that I didn't get best ending. It would seem that you will have to know what's coming more so than just having a book. Perhaps New Game Plus is best. And maybe even sacrifice a skill point or two, and the majority are secrets. I'm sure there were a couple of secrets that I could have skipped on for the sake of, you know, time. Like, getting the Excaliburs, it didn't end up being that key. Sure, the upgrades carried over, but they were only a matter of points different. Wasn't all that necessary. I got the Lego and Millia's VF1J for nothing. So, time could be shaved off there. There was a brief time when I really considered putting this back on the big roulette of games to come back at this with a New Game Plus and just record the final stage. And if I did that, I would, you know, just take time off. Like, spread out one game instead of having 4 games. But I think I'll just let it rock and put it to rest so we can move on with the eternal conquest of every Super Robot Wars. We'll see you in the next Super Robot War. Good night, Space Lords.